And from a goblin to a goblin god, we find ourselves in a cave as a goblin chieftain has just died. Now all the dirty little low-level goblins start fighting over his weapon and who's going to be the new goblin chieftain. But as the goblins are duking it out, some of the other goblins realize that the chieftain left behind some untouched loot. Now as the goblins go to get the loot is actually being guarded by a goblin named Lin Tian. As some of the goblins get their hands on the loot, Lin makes his way over there to stop them. Now this loot just happens to come in the form of a fine-ass girl named Kelia, and the goblins are trying to ravage her. But as Goblin Lin goes to save her, some of the other goblins stand against him while letting him know the chief is dead and the prey is theirs. The goblins go to jump Lin, and Lin immediately starts getting his ass whooped. But as Goblin Lin is getting pummeled, he pulls out a blade and then proceeds to carve up one of the goblins, whooping his ass. As Lin points his blade, the rest of the goblins run away. Kelia is thankful that Goblin Lin has protected her, but Goblin Lin was once a human as well. See, Lin got hit by a dump truck, but instead of meeting God, he was reincarnated as a dirty little goblin in a video game. Now this game is a whole ass world that was created by gods and inhabited by various powerful monsters. But between all the monsters and the humans and the elves, goblins are the weakest, dirtiest, filthiest creatures in this world. Goblin Lin is currently a level 5 dirty little goblin bitch boy. But the primary way for goblins to get stronger is by feasting on humans and elves and mating with their women. That's why goblins ravage human colonies, killing men and stealing women. But Goblin Lin was once a human and he would never engage in such activities. But Kelia tells Lin not to worry because eventually the Holy Knight's Order is going to come to rescue her. When they come, she's hoping that the Knight's Order and the Holy Maiden will help Goblin Lin. But as Goblin Lin and Kelia are talking, a little goblin rushes in wanting to mate with Kelia in order to get stronger as the humans have arrived. Now Goblin Lin slits this goblin's throat in order to protect Kelia, but the two of them are thrilled to hear that the Holy Order has now arrived. As Goblin Lin and Kelia go to meet with the Knight's Order, they see a Holy Knight named Lauder cutting down all the goblins in his path. But as Kelia runs up to talk to the Knight, Goblin Lin notices something is off. He pushes Kelia out the way as the Knight seemingly tries to cut her. Now Goblin Lin tries to give him the benefit of the doubt and assume he mistook her as a goblin in the darkness. But as she screams to the Knight that it's Kelia, the Knight tells her he knows and he was planning to cut her down as she may have been defiled by goblins and she could possibly be carrying a goblin spawn. Now Kelia begs and pleads for her life, trying to let the commander know that she was not defiled, but Lauder is hearing none of it. She tells Lauder that the little goblin protected her, but that only pisses off the Knight even more. Lin pushes Kelia out the way in an attempt to protect her, but right as Lin is about to be cut down, somebody erects a shield of holy light around the little goblin. The Holy Maiden has arrived and she wonders about the little goblin as Goblin Lin seems a lot smarter than the other low-level goblins. Kelia crawls to the Holy Maiden on her hands and knees, begging for the Holy Maiden to save them. Goblin Lin recognizes the Holy Maiden as Afreya, the spokeswoman of the temple. Goblin Lin explains that a terrible accident happened to him, and if he's allowed to accompany them, he can explain everything. The Holy Knights agree to let Goblin Lin accompany them. Lin thanks them for their kindness, and he promises to properly repay them. But as Kelia is walking with Lauder, the Knight takes his blade and runs her through. Now Goblin Lin is terrified at the sight of his only friend having been cut down in front of him. But Goblin Lin has bigger things to worry about because now, when he gets back to the village, the Holy Maiden has plans for him. To be continued.